Good afternoon, everybody. Today I'm here to talk about a new project, open source project called as ISP-unity. Who am I? Basically, I'm a Linux system admin. I spent my past 11 or 12 years more on Linux system administration, and I'm an entrepreneur, accidental entrepreneur per se. The agenda for talk is what is ISP-unity, why we are launching this project, how you can get this project, how you can contribute, how does it work, and what are the other uses on top of it. So ISP-unity is an open source Ruby application that will be able to load balance and failover on multiple heterogeneous internet connections. So let me give you the context of why this is a project that evolved from client's requirement. So almost every company or every people nowadays have multiple internet connections. It may be for different reasons. So one of our customers had these connections, multiple net connections, and they asked me that why can't we use both of them simultaneously? And that was the trigger that we thought, okay, it is an interesting problem to solve. How can we ensure that we can use multiple internet connections, resource utilization, it can fail over, and I thought that okay, that's fine, we'll find a solution. It took some time for us to find a solution, and we found it. Now I want to bring that knowledge and experience to the normal community and to share with you. Normally what happens, you have either one broadband connection or two broadband connections, or you have one or more USB connections, or you have lease lines as offices, or maybe permutation and combination of that you have one broadband at home and maybe USB connection with you or with that. So how many of you have multiple internet connections? Okay, and that is your personally you have, or you have at offices. So at offices, most of you will be having multiple internet connections, right? We have to have multiple internet connections. Murphy's law, things can go down. You need reliability, you need failover, you need high availability on various net connections, because you are mostly developers or whatever you are doing is on the net. So if you are cut off from the internet, you are basically cut off from the world. So what does ISP-unity, what is the problem that it solves? It will automatically do the load balancing on multiple net connections. What I mean by load balancing is, suppose you have two net connections of 1 Mbps each, you can use 2 Mbps combined together. Okay, failover, in case your net connection goes down, it will automatically fail over to the connection that is working. Bandwidth aggregation is the same kind of thing, that it is aggregating all your bandwidth. Resource utilization, ROI, you are basically paying for all the net connections that you have, but you are using only one net connection at a given point of time, which is basically wasting your money, wasting your resource that you have. And with all the usage policies that ISPs are now putting in or leveraging in on top of you, your basically net speed goes down dramatically, say from 1 Mbps to 256 or 512 kbps. I will demo how it is working. I have things running at our office. Why it is a hard problem? Normally, if you have seen, every machine has a single gateway, whether it is Linux, Mac, or Windows. So if you have multiple net connections, you need to have multiple gateways. That is the first bottleneck. How will you determine the packet will travel from which path? And it has to come from that path again. Then the person or those who want to implement this, they have to have some knowledge of networking. Plus, it involves heterogeneous networks. your various ISPs will be having various networks, uh, gateways, etc. everything. And if you implement that also, it becomes very difficult to keep on monitoring it manually and keep on switching it. So it is an open source project. We are hosting it on GitHub. So if you want to either check out the code or if you want to contribute, you can go to GitHub and search for isp_unity and you can clone the code from there. We intend to release a Ruby gem for this so that in future you can just say gem install isp-unity and the code will be there on your machine for use. But there are still some bugs lying around, so we have not released the gem as of yet. But the code is there, it is working. You can contribute. We need people. There are a couple of developers. Thanks to them, they have contributed code in making this happen. The earlier prototype was on Python. We are migrating entire thing to Ruby, and for that, what you need is an Linux operating system to make this work. I don't know about whether how you can do these same kind of things in for Windows machine or for Mac, but if you want to run this, Linux is a must. That is a prerequisite. Then you need Ruby 1.9 9.3. Gem, once we release it, you will have it, and of course multiple net connections. So how is the architecture? Basically, it uses Linux kernel at the back end. The functionality has been there in the Linux kernel for a very long time. Only thing is, it is a very big pain to set it up. So even for seasonal programmers like us or system admins like us, it becomes very difficult to set these things right. Even if we forget one step, it becomes difficult to find the problem and get this thing again working. The second, there is a routing policy database that people have to understand to make this thing work. Plus, at the application level, what we are trying to do is the configuration will be stored in a JSON file, and the Ruby gem will basically read the JSON file and do whatever is needed. So you don't have to worry. We intend to make it so simple that even a layman should be able to use it. So something like you have RVM, you just fire one command and it installs RVM with it. So we intend to have a web application. People, those who know JSON, they can write their own configuration file. The sample is provided with the code. So if you don't know JSON, if you are just a layman who just wants to use multiple internet connections on your machine, you can just go to the website, which will be up in shortly. There what we intend to do is that people, those who want to run ISP-unity, they can just log on to the website, put in their configuration, it will generate a JSON and give it to you. You can just download the JSON file and it will start working on your machine. So the Rails application for this generating JSON file for your network or for your environment will be available at isp-unity.com. So ISP-unity is basically internet service provider. Unity was that it is integrating or uniting all the net connections. That is how we intend it to. Some of the other alternatives that are there in the market, you say why to go ahead and write this application or download this application. So the other alternatives are like to go with Cisco or CyberROM. So they are basically appliance based. So you have to have it. They only work with broadbands. Some of them have started working with USB net connections, but the cost is a big concern. They charge anywhere between say upward of 30,000, 40,000 and above these devices. So if you want to use multiple net connections at home, it is a overkill to buy these kind of appliances or any sort of appliance, or even for a small startup or company. And there are other distributions who claim that they can do this. There are a couple of them. If you will go online and search for these kind of distributions, they claim, I have not tried them personally, so I cannot comment on those things. So why Ruby? We chose because of the ecosystem. Earlier, we thought of going with Python, altogether a different debate, but we thought we will go with Ruby, the application on Rails, and we also started using Chef for all the deployments that we do and use. All the more reasons for us to come back to the Ruby platform. Demo. Let me try to show you. Okay, great. So this is my machine at my office. We have 3 net connections primarily. So this is one interface. Then we have, no, this is not the one. Okay. So this is basically netted interface. This is this is Tata Teleservices. This one is Tata Communications, and I have this net connection that is from BSNL. So I could have all public IPs directly associated to my machine, or it comes to the router, gets netted, and a private IP from there. Now let me show you. This is my gateway. There are 3 gateways, if you can see. There are 3 gateways. Normally on a machine you have always one gateway. Is it visible? So this is our Ruby code which does this entire thing. What it does basically is it creates tables for multiple net connections. Lot of multiple times we have run it. Oh, I'm so sorry. I think my net is gone for some reason. So if you see here, there are 3 gateways on the machine. So you can have as many internet connections as you want and still have entire bandwidth along with them. So does this sound interesting for you? Is it worth putting your time and efforts? No, so what happened is, just let me check again. Okay. So this is my remote machine that I'm trying to ping. So I have only one static IP, rest are dynamic IPs. So I don't have the IPs from there, and I have not port forwarded from that. So I could access my machine only from one IP, and I think that has gone down. That is the reason that we have multiple net connections. The only problem is that with the dynamic IPs, we don't know how to access that machine from outside currently. So although I would be having multiple net connections running, it would automatically fail over on the rest of the 2 net connections that I have. So the one that has gone down was Tata Communications. I have TTML and BSNL. So my machine would be running, my office would be running on internet on rest of the 2 internet connections. Only problem is I don't have the IP for those things because it is dynamic.
Suppose you have three different connections.
Yeah.
Those can be routed from one router, and you can assign them one global IP to that router.
No, no, but if for a router you need to have one, your router will give you only one IP, right?
We can't mask that.
No. See, normally, normally the routers that you have, ADSL modems or routers that come, okay, it can be wireless also, it can be without wireless. So you only have one interface primarily, one internet connection, and then you have like switches that you can connect to the local LAN. So you don't have in the routers you don't have multiple net
All
connections.
connection you will have in one product.
Yes.
You can't like what
Yeah.
will be different.
Yes. So that has been the major problem, that all your routers that are there at your offices or at homes, they only have one net connection, or you have only one cable for the public IP, and you have to NAT it and use it for the internal IP. And that's why I had these two net connections here which were NATed. This is private IP, this is again a private IP network, and this is a public IP. So because my service provider only gives me only one static IP, rest of them they provide dynamic IP. So this entire code and functionality has been put up, it's working. Only some little bugs are remaining that we need to fix it and release a gem. So anybody who wants to use it, they can, uh, we are on GitHub. The name of the project is isp_unity. And we have created a Twitter account @ISPUnity. So if you want us to keep you posted, you can follow that @ISPUnity, so that we can keep you posted as soon as the web application is live for creating JSON files, and as and when we release a Ruby gem. So use cases primarily for individuals, it is like you have broadbands, you have 3G modems, it is useful for you. For startups who cannot invest too much of amount, these kind of big amounts for big budgets into the appliances, for them it can be useful. Okay, and for various companies. Although this is not for enterprises as of now, because if I will warn you not to use it for your offices currently. I'll tell you why. Because things will break down. Because this will what the current application does. It will keep on load balancing the application for every after say every 5 minutes or 10 minutes, whatever time frame you decide. So it will keep a check on whether your net connection is working or not. Based on that, it will decide the logic where to route the packets and path. Okay. So if you have SSH or HTTPS or any session based applications, those will break. So you might get connected after 5 minutes or something, the net connection switches from one interface, or it fails over or whatever, it will break it. So we have to add more logic and code. That is also there. It is possible to make all the HTTPS connections stick with it, but we need to implement all those code inside the application. So currently you can use it on your personal desktop, laptops, it's fine. But if you want to use it at your offices, it is going to take some little more work in the Ruby code that we are building up. Any questions till now? So you can, if you want to contribute this to this project, you can reach me at the rate Arun Tomar at Twitter, or at the rate ISPUnity for this project, or you can mail me, or you can check the website isp-unity.com. We have mentioned the details there. Please.
About the load balancing thing,
Yeah.
you said this also handles load balancing.
Yes.
So as in like if I have two internet connections with 128 kbps, I can effectively get to 256 kbps with ISPUnity.
Yeah.
But then if it is going to keep on switching in between,
Yeah.
so basically the question is this: if I have a YouTube video running,
I'm sorry.
if I have a YouTube video running on my
Yeah.
desktop or a laptop, and I have ISPUnity installed to take care of it, so
Okay.
how do you? I don't understand.
Okay, so
Are you just doing failover or are you doing load balancing as well?
it does load balancing. How it does load balancing, I'll tell you. So say you have one net connection, this is one ISP, this is another ISP. Now you are trying to access, so you are, say, suppose the client machine who is trying to access the net connections from here. So I am the router, suppose, okay, and I am routing the traffic here or here, okay, and basically I'll become the gateway with multiple gateways on this side. So for you, I'll be the only gateway. So when you try to send a packet or a traffic like YouTube or whatever you are trying to access, what it will go, it will come to me and I will choose a path from which I will try to send it. The load balancing is based on round robin by default. So what it will do is, it can do either based on round robin, wherein both the net traffic or weightage is similar. So you say if you are sending 100 packets or 100 requests, 50 will go here, 50 will go here, there. Or you can specify in terms of weight that I want to send, say, 70% on this path and 30% on this path. That is possible. Now what happens is, whenever you are trying to access YouTube, okay, it will come to me, and suppose the router decides to send it via this path, okay, it will cache that route into the routing table, in the Linux kernel's routing table. So if somebody else tries to use or access YouTube, it will also go from this to this path. Now suppose if you are trying to use now google.com or Yahoo, and suppose this goes from this path, okay, so entire traffic will go from this, unless it again checks it and flushes the cache. That is the normal way of doing things. So if you are doing HTTP downloads or if you are running torrents, you will get the entire bandwidth. So suppose you have 1 Mbps here, 1 Mbps here, you will get 2 Mbps to you. Okay, so that is how it will work. Now we can make it stick. So if you are using HTTPS over Google Mail or some site, or if you are using SSH for trying to access certain websites, then we can make it stick that every time you are trying to use SSH as a protocol, okay, it should go from this path. So all those things are for enterprises. All those things, the knowledge is there. Okay, it has been in existence for a very long time, but we need to implement that code in build. We can also do quality of services, wherein we can have multiple queues for your bandwidth, and you can specify no matter what happens. Suppose you say I have a VoIP queue, my VoIP queue should get 256 kbps dedicated. So no matter how much traffic is there in your network, your VoIP call will always have 256 kbps guaranteed. So all those features can be implemented, and this project intends to do step by step to that level. Yeah.
And let's say I add one more line to it, will it automatically pick up or do I need to restart the whole system?
So router, in the sense, do you have a router which has multiple?
Let's say you have a setup with two lines coming from two ISPs.
Okay.
And there are 10 machines connected to that router. So all the 10 machines are sharing these two ISPs.
Okay.
Now I add one more line from BSNL, let's say.
Okay.
Do I need to restart the whole setup or will it be hot plug-in?
So when you say router, in the sense you are putting ISP-unity gem in that router.
Whether it is the machine or, I mean, you just discussed about a centralized place from where the connections will be routed or the packets will be routed.
So that router can be a machine, physical machine. It can be an appliance. You can put this Ruby gem if somebody wants to take this up, put it into an embedded appliance kind of thing and make it work. That is also possible.
So at this moment, the whole stuff is deployed on a machine, and that machine is routing all the traffic for all the users.
Yes.
So let's say to that machine I add one more network interface and get one more ISP connected to that.
Yeah.
Is it a hot plugin, or do I need to restart the whole setup?
You don't have to restart the whole setup, but you'll have to configure the interface. So suppose if you have another connection coming in from some other ISP, Now, if they are giving you DHCP, it's fine. So suppose if it is a LAN cable, so you need to insert the LAN cable. If your network is configured for accepting DHCP connections, so you will get automatically DHCP. But you need to configure either PPPoE or something for dialing up or however it is
No,
providing the IP.
I understand that. My question was,
So now
this
what will
piece of
happen?
software,
Yes.
will it sense the new connections automatically?
No, not currently.
Okay.
We need to build that logic.
Okay.
So you will need to tell that you need to configure that into the JSON file.
All right, got it.
So the configuration will tell the ISP-unity how to route it.
All right, thank you.
Any more questions? Thanks.
Okay, thank you.